sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May our homage to our teacher Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends, let's begin our Dhamma discussion. So during our previous sessions, we had a discussion about full awareness meditation, and also we studied about the wisdom according to the Buddha's teachings. Last week, we came up with this question about the right to speech. So some of my friends asked me that what type of speech that the Buddha advised to speak so that we can have a peaceful mind. Okay, so what do you think, friends? Should we speak everything come to our mind? Should we skip some
That would be a
words?
disaster. It would be a disaster if we
Speak
said everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, we so friends, I said, and I remembered about the incident that normally happens during retreats and also during our meditation sessions, that sometimes people start to do pointless talks. So that can also affect our peace of mind. Okay. So normally speech is the, uh, manifestation of our thoughts that we carry in our heart. So when we think a lot, we can see that we speak a lot when we think a lot. One day, friends, while Buddha was coming to the meditation hall, in that moment, all the other Bhantes were started a discussion, and that discussion was about just normal things in the ordinary life, like things people uh, talk, like it is called like 32 talks, like um, the pointless talk, which doesn't have a point. When we start a certain discussion about worldly affairs, something going on in the world, like in the sense among the sense pleasures in the material world, when we start up such a discussion, it doesn't have a stop. It can go all the way without stopping. But when we start a discussion on mindfulness, discussion on, about virtue, about how to be energetic, how to start a meditation among the obstacles, that type of a discussion bring us peace of mind. So Buddha say there is this two difference. Okay. Now, in that moment, so the Buddha was coming to the meditation hall. The Bhantes were started up a discussion it's just a pointless discussion. And Buddha asked, what were you starting your discussion? What were you talking? In that moment, the Bhante said, "Oh, we just talked without a point. We just talked something. There's no purpose. We just started a worldly discussion." And in that moment, Buddha say, "Monks, when you gather together, you should do two things. Okay, else you should start a Dhamma discussion, or else you should be at peace with the noble silence." Okay. Start a Dhamma discussion means we can talk and we can start a discussion about the meditations or about peace of mind or how to arouse energy, how to strive harder, how to attain our goal, how to practice generosity, how to spread loving kindness, how to forgive, how to spread compassion, how to help others. That type of a discussion inspires us to be more and more involved in our spiritual life. Would they say you do that type of a discussion, or else you should be peaceful with noble silence? We have heard about silence, but what is noble silence? What is the greatest silence? What do you think? The most valuable silence? Let's say that we just stay without talking with another. We just numb. We don't express ourselves with another. Just just spend peacefully, like with silence. And the other says, "Why you don't talk?" We say, "I'm silence." Not like that. Buddha say noble silence is that you practice a meditation. You don't get involved with another person in a pointless discussion, else you start a Dhamma discussion, or else you do this noble silence, you start a meditation. Perhaps we can start loving kindness meditation inside, because it won't be almost always that we cannot practice breathing meditation. We can silently start loving kindness meditation or impermanence meditation. Why? The next time we speak, we'll be very mindful, and it will also be very calm and gentle, with that doesn't hurt another's feelings. Again, that will be very compassionate word, because it starts during a meditation. It starts with the meditation of loving kindness. So it enlightens the other person. That type of a discussion protects either sides. That person's peace will also be protected, and our peace of mind will also be protected. Okay, do you get this point, friends? Yes. So to start a discussion is that one need at least if one should get if one need to talk, they should talk about the Dhamma discussion, or else they can do a meditation, noble silence. So in that moment, Buddha instructed like that. Okay, friends? Because this we should take our um, responsibility about our meditations and our mindfulness to our hands. So no one externally can make our mind peaceful unless that we do. So it is very important to protect and guard our speech. Okay, friends. It is said that in the Himalayas, Himalayan forest, in a certain sutta, Buddha say there are some divinely beings living in the range of the Himalayan forest. Perhaps we cannot see to our naked eye. It said that they live there and they don't talk. It said that they don't speak because of two reasons. It said that they don't speak because they are afraid of speaking a lie. They are afraid of telling unconsciously telling a deliberate lie to another. Because of that, they don't speak. Buddha say when a person always speaks, they might accidentally deceive another by words, because we are not having always our mindfulness. When there is a long, full of discussions, it can bring up a kind of a deceiving word to speak to another. Okay. And the second reason why those beings doesn't speak, according to the Buddha, is that they don't like to offend another without by their words. They don't like to tell another person a harsh word or offending word to another. Because of that, those divine beings don't speak. That would not be the best option, not to speak at all, but we can speak what brings us peace of mind. Are we doing a pointless discussion during our sessions? No, this is very beautiful discussion. We talk about our life. We talk about how to be mindful. We talk about peace of mind. We talk about how to practice good things. We talk about cultivating good things in life. So these are good discussion. Buddha say discussion about mindfulness, about concentration, about wisdom. These are good discussions. These are arousing our energy, our inspiration to go and move forward. And in the same time, Buddha say this kind of Dhamma talk can inspire, can influence us to get a purity of our life. With a good discussion, we can pure our life, we can cleanse our life. We studied during our previous session what is purity and what is impurity. Do you remember that discussion? We were talking about purity and impurity.
Yeah, so that's where you have no thoughts of anger or ill will or anything like that. So you
Yeah,
get rid of
again,
all the defilements.
exactly. Do you
Yeah.
remember that in that discussion we had a incident that a monk was going to sniff a lotus? And
Mm.
then the deity saw it, and then they said that you should not do any bad thing while you are meditating, while you are finding your peace of mind, while you are awakening. You should not commit even a slight wrong that should be appears to you as a big as a cloud. You should not forget that. And then what did this monk said? Oh, you are very kind to me. Next time also, please let me know. Whenever that I do a wrong, please let me know. So what then this deity said? He said, I'm not your servant.
Yeah.
You yourself should know what should be cultivated and what should be abandoned. Now it is for ourselves to know what should I talk so that my mind will be peaceful, and what should I avoid so that my mind will not be peaceful. Can we find that? We can. Why? Because there are some discussions after doing it, it brings us regret. Oh, why did I talk like that? Why I said that? I shouldn't speak like that. Oh, it brings me so much worry, and that person might be in sadness. So then don't we know what we should talk next time? We know. That is mindful approach. That is the wiseful approach. And again, Buddha still gives us some discipline to practice in our life, a certain discipline in our life that we need to follow. For an example, that is avoiding divisive talk, avoiding lies, avoiding harsh speech, and avoiding pointless talk. That's also something which support us to our peaceful mind, and it is given by the Buddha. And again, one of my friend asked that day, so does that mean if you break a lotus that you become a thief?
Well, he
Do
was
you
only smelling, he was just smelling the lotus.
Yeah, he was just, and
It
then
was
the Alan
scent.
asked, how do you do that correctly? How do you smell the lotus a good way, like correct way?
You
You
have to
step
be 10
one,
feet away. You have to
what?
be 10 or 15 feet away.
For that one, we came to this point. Now we are going to study a sutta for that. Okay. This is called Chunda Sutta. I hope everybody see this. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Pava in the mango grove of Chunda, the smith's son. This person is very popular among the Buddhist traditional text because this person, Chunda, the smith's son, was the person who gave the Buddha's last meal. So after taking that meal, Buddha went to the Kushinagar where Buddha was passed away. So this person collected a very great merit in his life by doing that generous action. Now, uh, Chundas Smith's son, he was popular for making jewelry out of gold. So his father also did that. So it's coming from his generation. Now he owned this mango grove. It is in the Pava. Then Chunda, the smith's son, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, and sat down to one side. The Blessed One said to him, now he came to see the Buddha. Now Buddha said this question. He asked this from this Chunda. Chunda, whose rites of purity do you prefer? Chunda, which type of practice that you prefer which lead to purity? That's the Buddhist question. So then he said, Bhante, I prefer the rites of purity. Rites of purity means the practice leads to pure heart, purity, pure life. I prefer the rites of purity prescribed by the Brahmins of the West, who carry around water pots, wear garlands of water plants, tend the sacred fire, and immerse themselves in water. Now he's explaining about the features of those their teachers. Brahmins was their teachers. Now I love their way of practice, which leads to purity. Their nature is like they carry water pots. They wear garlands of water plants, which means that they have aquatic plants like lotuses, and they wear these lotus flowers as necklace. They tend the sacred fire, which means their ritual was to put up a fire and then they do some sacrifices to the fire. And also, they have another practice that they immerse themselves in water, which means that if they imagine that they had done a bad demerit, bad karma, bad action, what they do is that they go to the water and they bathe in the water so that they think by this way we will purify ourselves and we can also let go all the demerits in our lives. By doing this, we cut off all the bad things in life after going into the water and bathing and also doing fire sacrifice. With that we become pure. And I love this type of practice, Buddha. I love this practice. And then the Buddha asked, and how, Chunda, do the Brahmins of the West prescribe their rites of purity? How do they teach you? And then this person said, Chunda said, here, Bhante, the Brahmins of the West enjoin a disciple thus. Come, good man, having gotten up early, you should stroke the ground from your bed. First thing that they do as soon as they wake up is that they touch the ground. If you don't stroke the ground, you should stroke wet cow dung. Normally in Indian tradition, they use cow dung mixed with clay to apply on the ground, on the floor of the house. So he said, the Brahmin taught us you should stroke wet cow dung if you couldn't touch the ground when you wake up. If you don't stroke wet cow dung, if you fail to do that also, you should stroke green grass. So you cut off the grass and you bring it to your house and then you lay it on the ground. If you don't stroke green grass, you should tend the sacred fire. So they lit up a kindle a fire and then they start to put the fragrance into the fire and they do a certain ritual. If you don't tend the sacred fire, you should pay homage to the sun with reverential salutation. If you also fail to do that, you go out and you pay homage to the sun with reverential salutation. Even today, we can see this practice is popular in the world. So you pay your homage to the sun. If you don't pay homage to the sun with the reverential salutation, you should immerse yourself in water 3 times, including the evening. You go to the water, to a lake, or mostly to the Ganges, and you enter to the water and you immerse yourself in the water 3 times a day, including the evening. Why? Because now you accumulated so many bad things, bad karma. Now you are washed away by entering into the Ganges and you let it go. It is in this way that Brahmins of the West prescribe their rites of purity. It is their rites of purity that I prefer. He said, Buddha, I really love this. I really love this practice. This is my devotion. I love this way of life. This way I will let go of my impurities. This is what I love. Now, the Buddha doesn't criticize it, or Buddha doesn't say it is wrong or it is incorrect. That is not the correct way. Here, I will tell you the correct way. No. But Buddha suggested saying like that. Chunda, purification in the Noble One's discipline is quite different from the rites of purity prescribed by the Brahmins of the West who carry around water pots, wear garlands of water plants, tend the sacred fire, and immerse themselves in water. But Chunda, in my dispensation, in my discipline, is quite different from the way that you explained. Now, this Chunda, when Buddha said like that, this Chunda got a kind of enthusiasm, a kind of a curiosity to learn more about the Buddha's way of purification. But how, Bhante, does purification come about in the Noble One's discipline? It would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in a way that explains how purification comes about in the Noble One's discipline. Then the Chunda said, Buddha said, well then Chunda, listen and attend closely, I will speak. Yes, Bhante, Chunda the smith's son replied. The Blessed One said this. Now here we can find the ethical conduct according to the Buddhist teachings. The ethical conduct that is in the text of the Buddhist teachings. Impurity by body, Chunda, is threefold. Impurity by speech is fourfold. Impurity by mind is threefold. Now Buddha summarizes before explaining. Now Chunda, there are three things that can impure the life which is happening by body, four things happening by speech, and three things happening by mind, which brings impure life, which brings impure heart. And how Chunda is impurity by body threefold. Now Buddha explains how a killing take place, how normally way of a killing happens according to the Buddha's discipline. Buddha say here someone destroys life. He is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. Second, he takes what is not given. He steals the wealth and property of others in the village or forest. Third, he engages in sexual misconduct. He has sexual relations with women who are protected by their mother and father, brother, sister, or relatives, who are protected by their dhamma, who have a husband, whose violations entails a penalty, or even with one already engaged. So that way, there are three bodily misconduct. Now, Buddha say, when a person destroy life, he is murderous, bloody-handed, and always looking at intention of killing of the beings and living merciless to living beings. That brings the impurity of the heart. And he takes what is not given, which means that the person steals something, a wealth or property of another in the village or in the forest. Even in the forest, let's say uh, there is something a person dropped in the forest, there can be someone is belonging to that. If a person is taking it by thinking that I would give that to the person who is belong to this, or perhaps I will give it to the police or something who is um, like responsible for this. That way of taking is not a stealing, but with the intention of taking it to oneself can be a stealing. Let's say for an example, even there can be something that we don't know. If we have even a doubt, it's better that we don't take it for ourselves. And let's say that I take because it is belong to one of my friend, so I will take that with the trust of the person who belong to that. Let's say that I know this is belong to the person that I know, that he won't tell me bad. He trusts me, so I better take this. Out of trust, we can take something in the village or in the forest, wherever. And again, Buddha say if one takes something temporarily, which means I will take something for temporarily, I will return it. It won't break this precept. It is not a stealing. But if somebody take it with the intention of stealing, according to the Buddha, it is a stealing. Buddha say it is because that property or something, a material thing, is not given. The third one is engage in sexual misconduct. Now, here the Buddha explains about the sexual misconduct to a householder, a man. Because of that, he talked in the perspective of a man. So he said that one should not sexually misconduct, which means one should have a sexual conduct with this kind of a person, this kind of a woman. He has sexual relations with women who are protected by their mother or father, protected by parents. There can be a person protecting by uh, other relatives, or at least by dhamma. Dhamma means there can be a person who is being protected by uh, her own values, her own moral values. She might have some uh, perspective in her life that I won't um, do a sexual misconduct. So when one go with such a person, and again who have a husband whose violation entails a penalty, in some countries there can be strict rules. So that is why it says whose violation entails a penalty, or even with one already engaged. Sometimes in the Buddhist time it said that people engage with become engaged with the necklace. So here the Buddha say even one who is separated by a necklace, if one do a sexual misconduct with such a person, that person is doing a sexual misconduct. Now this way, this three way of bodily deeds brings impurity according to the Buddha. It is in this way that impurity by body is threefold, and how Chunda is impurity by speech fourfold. Here someone speaks falsehood. If he is summoned to a council, to an assembly, to his relative's presence, to his guild, or to the court, and questioned as a witness does. Now, Buddha give an analogy to understand about the talking of the lies. Now, normally, when we talk without checking the facts, accidentally we might talk something. But if as long as we don't have a intention of deceiving that person, we don't speaking a lie. Let's say that somebody told me a lie, and I will transfer it to one of my friend, and without knowing whether it is true or false. In that time also, because I don't deceive by my words, that I don't have a intention of deceiving, so that I don't speaking a lie because I don't know the fact that is being transferred. So that way also we don't speak lies. And also, if we hurriedly speak, that is not a lie because we lack the intention of deceiving. Now, according to this sutta, Buddha give a example, kind of a situation which happens. Suppose, Chunda, that there is a assembly, there are relatives or people, other people gathered, and this person, somebody is asking a question by this person as a witness. So, good man, tell what you know. Then, not knowing, he says, I know. Or knowing, he says, I don't know. Now, this man asked from this witness, you should speak the truth now. You should tell what you know as you know, what you don't know as you don't know. But this person tells, not knowing, he says, I know. Or knowing, he says, I don't know. Which means we can clearly see now this person is uh, changing, deceiving, by intentionally deceiving, deliberately deceiving the facts. Not seeing, he says, I see. Or seeing, he says, I don't see. Somebody might ask, some information we have seen something happening, so we say no, I didn't see that happening. So that way there is a deliberate lie. Thus he consciously speaks falsehood for his own ends or for another's ends or for some trifling worldly end. Normally one can speak device deceiving words because of attachment, because of greediness to something, because to possess something. That's why normally a person deceives another. Buddha say because of that, when a person has a such a way of speech, and that is the falsehood. The second one, the second way of the impurity by speech is that he speaks divisively. Having heard something here, he repeats it elsewhere in order to divide those people from these. Or having heard something elsewhere, he repeats it to these people in order to divide them from those. There can be two friends. One person is going to separate them, make them apart by this speech, by gathering some information from one friend and telling it to another friend by the intention of breaking them apart. That is the divisive word. Thus, he is one who divides those who are united, a creator of divisions, one who enjoys factions, rejoices in factions, delights in factions. I speak of words that create factions. In that way, one is speaking divisively. He speaks harshly. He utters such words as are rough, hard, hurtful to others, offensive to others, bordering on anger, unconducive to concentration. When one speak a word to another as a offensive, there are like cursing words, and also even if somebody speak angrily that break the concentration of another person, is a harsh word because that can let go their peace of mind. So should not, according to the Buddha's teachings, he says you should not speak that word because it makes the impure heart, it makes the impurity life. The last one, the seventh one, is he indulged in idle chatter. This is the idle chatter, which means the pointless talk. He speaks at an improper time. He speaks falsely. Now, in that pointless talk there can be a deceiving word. He speaks what is unbeneficial. Speak contrary to the Dhamma and the discipline, something which goes against the teachings. And at an improper time, he speaks such words as are worthless, unreasonable, rambling, and unbeneficial. There are some words that we don't like, can find that it doesn't do any um, profit, it doesn't do any goodness to our life in this life, and also to the profit of another life. It doesn't bring any good results. It doesn't bring any happiness in this life or in the next life. So in this way, one should speak the Dhamma, one should speak the good things and the beneficial things. It is in this way that impurity by speech is fourfold. And how Chunda is impurity by mind threefold. Now, Buddha said in the previously, Buddha said there are three ways of mind actions, mental actions, which make impurity, which make impure mind, impure heart, and impure life. Now, he say, what are those? Here, someone is full of longing. He longs for the wealth and property of others. Thus, oh, may what belongs to another be mine. That is called greediness, longing or greediness for the other's wealth. So when one thinks, oh, may what belongs to another be mine, that kind of a greedy thinking impure the heart. Next, he has a mind of ill will and intentions of hateful. Thus, may these beings be slain and slaughtered, cut off, destroyed, or annihilated. That type of a thinking is also making us impure. The last one is the 10th one. He holds a wrong view and has an incorrect perspective. Thus, there is nothing given, nothing sacrificed, nothing offered, which means when one gets a view about the life and about the world with like this, there is nothing given, which means there is no result of doing giving. There is no result of practicing generosity. There is nothing. There is no good results of sacrifices, which means giving and sharing. There is no meaning of offering things to others. There is no fruit of good, a result of good and bad action. There is no this world or no other world. There is no mother, there is no father. There are no beings spontaneously reborn. There are in the world no ascetics or Brahmins of right conduct and right practice who, having realized this world and the other world for themselves by direct knowledge, make them known to others, which means one uh, let go uh, the understanding about the beings in this world, that there can be awakened beings, there can be special people in this world that who awakened themselves to the true nature of life. When one does not uh, have such a view, Buddha say that brings impurity to the life. Why? Because that is centered in the karma. Now, according to this teaching, Buddha say all of these uh, rest of the other actions happens because of the wrong view. Now, as long as there is a wrong view, it is more likely to make up impure actions by the way of body and speech, because everything that we uh, do by our actions lead by our views. That is how we express ourselves. Now, when someone doesn't have a correct view in one's life, so that can bring them the unskillful actions. Let's say one does not rejoice, like let's say one does not understand there is no, there is, let's say one hold a view that there is no fruit or result of good and bad actions in this life. Let's say one does not recognize this. Let's say one does not have a correct view over the actions. There are good actions and bad actions. What happens is that the person doesn't have the control over their actions, so that a person would do whatever come to the mind, whatever the view that one holds, so that there can be killings, there can be stealing, there can be sexual misconduct, there can also be harsh words and divisive words and deceiving words, because the view that one has is wrong, is because the view one has is incorrect. Now, that way, Buddha say, this is a wrong view. Now, it is in this way that impurity by mind is threefold. These chunda are the 10 causes of unwholesome karma. Now, here Buddha explained about the actions, the karma. What are the actions? The first one, the action of the body, the harming living beings. Second one is the stealing. Third one is the sexual misconduct. These three are in the side of the impure bodily actions. Okay. Now the four by speech, that is falsehood, speak divisively, and speaks harshly. And seventh is the indulgence in idle chatter, and that is the four by speech, and the three by mind, that is uh, someone is full of longing, which means the greediness, and the ninth one, the ill will, which means the intention of hating others, like the anger, and the 10th one is the wrong will. That three is the mind, making one's mind impure. These are 10 actions. Buddha say 10 causes of unwholesome karma. These are 10 causes of unwholesome action. If one engages in these 10 causes of unwholesome karma, then if one gets up early and stroke the ground from one's bed, one is impure. And if one doesn't stroke the ground, one is impure. If one stroke wet cow dung, one is impure. And if one doesn't stroke wet cow dung, one is impure. If one strokes green grass, one is impure. And if one doesn't stroke green grass, one is impure. If one tends the sacred fire, one is impure. And if one does not tend the sacred fire, one is still impure. If one pays homage to the sun with reverential salutations, one is impure. And if one does not pay homage to the sun with reverential salutation, one is impure. If one immerses oneself in water 3 times, including evening, one is impure. And if one doesn't immerse oneself in water 3 times, including the evening, one is impure. Now, Buddha say, whatever the practice that there is, when one is having incorrect actions, unskillful action by way of body, speech, and mind, that one has the impurity in life. According to the Buddha's teachings, a person is not impure by birth. A person is not bad by the rebirth, by the birth, or by anything else. But Buddha say one is impure by what become impure by their actions. No matter if a person is a highly born or a lower born, if one hold a unskillful action in one's life, that brings impurity. Now Buddha say, for what reason? Because these 10 causes of unwholesome karma are themselves impure and defiling. Now these things defiling the heart, when a person always keep harming living beings, it defiles them. It impures their heart. It is because people engage in these 10 causes of unwholesome karma that hell, the animal realm, the sphere of afflicted spirits, and other bad destinations are seen. Buddha say if there is no such actions among the beings in this world, there will not be such a place like hell, animal realm, or any other ghost realm or any other lower realms. Because of conducting these actions that one is after the death, person go to the lower realm. Now Buddha said that because of that, this way, these actions brings the impurity, let alone the mindfulness. So the mindfulness is something that we need to sustain in our life. But when there are unrestrained actions, it can bring us to regret, so that it block our peace of mind. So that way it increases the hindrances. Now Buddha say one need to have a clean and a cleansed lifestyle, cleansed heart, in order to sustain the mindfulness. So by observing these actions can bring up this peace of mind. Now again, Buddha say the other side, the purity. About the purity, by body chunda is threefold, purity by speech is fourfold, purity by mind is threefold, and how chunda is purity by body threefold. Here, someone having abandoned destruction of life, abstain from the destruction of life, with the rod and weapon laid aside, conscientious and kindly, he dwells compassionate toward all living beings. Having abandoned the taking of what is not given, he abstains from taking what is not given. He does not steal the wealth and property of others in the village or in the forest. Having abandoned sexual misconduct, he doesn't do sexual misconduct. And again, abandon false speech. Again, with the same simile, Buddha say that when somebody asks for the truth, that person doesn't deceive, that person doesn't get the deception. He straightly speak the truth and abandon the separation of the others, and also abandon harsh speech, and also abandon the idle chatter. This is interesting. He say, abandons from idle chatter. He speaks at a proper time. He speak the truth. He speak what is beneficial. He speak on the Dhamma and the discipline. At a proper time, he speaks such words as are worth recording, reasonable, and beneficial. It is in this way that purity by speech is fourfold. And again, Buddha say, Chun, the purity by the mind is threefold. One does not have longing. That person doesn't think, oh, may what belongs to another be mine. And also spread loving kindness. And also have a right view. In the Buddha's teaching, the right view is the correct grasp of the karma, correct grasp of the karma and its results. He holds right view and has a correct perspective. Thus, there is what is given, sacrificed, and offered, which means one know that if somebody were to cultivate generosity, practice giving and sharing, there are good results of that. There are good benefit results by doing that action. For an example, when we develop a generosity, that brings peace of mind, that brings joy into the heart. So that is the karma. That is when one does something, it brings the good result. When we practice loving kindness, it brings joy into our heart. So that also a result of the good karma. And again, the correct view is that there is fruit and result of good and bad action. So one hold this kind of intention that there can be the good results. There can be result of good and bad action. If one do good, there can be good results. If one do bad, there can be bad results. And also there is this world and the other world. There is mother and father, which means one know that there is a special person to be respected as one's mother and father. And there are other places that can be reborn. There are beings spontaneously reborn. There are in the world ascetics and Brahmins of right conduct and right practice who, having realized this world and other world for themselves by direct knowledge, make them known to others. It is in this way that purity by mind is threefold. Now, the same way Buddha say that because of these good things, Even if somebody misses to do that stroking of the grass and so on, still that person is pure. Because that person has a good way of conduct, because that person have good way of actions. It is because people engage in these 10 causes of wholesome actions that the gods and human beings and other good destinations are seen. As long as beings are cultivating these good actions, there are such places called human life, human world, and also the heavenly realms. So, because of these actions, one is reborn in the higher realms, which means among the population, there are beings who are doing good things and doing bad things. Because of this mix of these things, there are places to be reborn. These are visible as a result of the actions one does. When this was said, the Chundas, the smith's son, said to the Blessed One, Excellent Bhante, excellent Bhante, let the Blessed One accept me as a lay follower who from today has gone for refuge for life. So he rejoiced the way that Buddha explained about the purity and impurity. So it is still among us. It's still among our actions. So it is one's own um, responsibility to apply the wisdom to know what should be cultivated and what should not be cultivated, so that it brings the purity and impurity. So this is this sutta, friends. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, friends, what are the uh, actions which leads to the impurity? Do you remember? By way, how many? By way of body, how many?
3 by the body, Bhante.
Yes.
3. Oh,
Killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. By speech, how many?
4.
4.
4. What are the 4?
Lying,
Telling lies,
Is that telling lies?
divisive
Uh,
speech,
Divisive speech,
harsh
harsh
speech,
speech,
harsh speech, and
idle
pointless,
chatter.
idle chatter, pointless talk. And how many in the mind?
3.
3. And what are they?
Um, Covetousness,
Covetousness, yeah. Greediness,
greediness, yeah.
yeah.
Wrong view,
Wrong view 1, and the other one?
ill will,
Yes, ill will. Now tell me the purity
non
by
non
by body 3. What are the body by body? What are the 3 things?
abstain from killing,
Abstaining from killing,
um,
Abstaining.
abstaining from stealing,
abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct. By
Shasana.
speech, abstaining from falsehood, divisive talk, idle chatter, and also a harsh word. And by mind, what is the purity by the mind? What are the actions by the mind?
non ill will,
No ill will. What is no ill will means?
loving kindness,
Yeah, loving kindness. Then let's say right will, but what's the other one? The left, the one that left.
giving. Covetousness is opposite is giving
Yeah,
or
opposite of giving. Yeah, opposite is
giving. Okay.
giving, which means does not long for the others' properties, others' wealth. As soon as one does not long for that, it is purity of the heart. Okay. Now, do you see these two things are direct opposite? Yes, direct opposite things. Now, coming to the purity, one let go the impure things. What do you think? Can we live forever with purity? With the good things only, with the good things?
We could try.
If there is a place you can do that, you should go to that place so that you can live with only with that purity. What is that place?
The Devas.
Devas, among the Devas. Among the Devas, there is purity. Among the heavenly beings, there is purity. Among the human world also, there is that purity. Coming to the pure actions, one let go the impure actions. That is how to let go the impure things, and that is what brings us mindfulness. That is the way of mindfulness. Okay, please. Sadhu.
Bhante, which was this in the Majjhima Nikaya?
It is in the Anguttara Nikaya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Anguttara Nikaya, section 10, book 10,
Mm-hmm.
and the sutta number 176.
Okay. Thank you. I have to go back to that one and study it.
Yeah, you should study. Yeah.
There is this view from where I come from in India, is that when somebody is killed
Yeah.
or attacked or uh, is dead because of a killing or something, right? That person is reborn in the ghost world. Is it true or to assume that, or is it false view?
After killing a person is going to a bad world.
Yeah, like the person who gets killed goes to the ghost world
Oh,
because
If
they are,
somebody else kills,
yeah, somebody gets killed. So
the
that
yeah,
person
victim.
who
somebody, the
who
victim
gets killed
goes to the,
to the,
yeah.
to the ghost world.
Um, I think according to the Buddhist teachings, it is not among the right view.
Okay.
Yeah. Because,
Mhm.
yeah. When we examine Buddha's teachings, we can see that when somebody kills a living being, it brings the bad results to the person who committed,
Mhm.
and that can affect them directly or indirectly. It can, well, that can actually come to them as a result in this life or the next life
Mhm.
to the person who murdered.
Mhm.
But to the person who is being murdered, I think that person go according to that person's karma.
Okay. Mhm. So it's not, it is won't be good to assume that that person is essentially a ghost
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
because
Not
there's.
essential. No. Not essentially a god, ghost.
Bhante, the purity rituals seem to be really of Hindu origin. Isn't that something that Buddha wanted to abandon, get away from the rituals?
Yes, very good question. Actually, rituals means there can be a ritual based in the karma. That kind of ritual can be helpful and beneficial. I mean, like, let's say that we respect a person who awakened, that can look as a ritual. But in that moment, what we are doing is that we having a right view, that we know that this person developed the heart and became enlightened. And we see it through the practice. Without such a knowledge, this person cannot explain this type of teaching. Relying on those understandings, we do such a ritual by the name of the awakened one, and that can be seen as a ritual externally by another person, but still this person who does that out of gratitude and out of understanding is not such a bad ritual to should be let go.
Okay.
But I know, Manfred, what you are think in this moment. I think you might saying about the rituals that there are something like sacrifices.
Yeah.
There are in modern world also in India, there are places where people do human sacrifices
Right.
to the gods.
Right.
Yeah, that is a killing.
Yeah.
And that can take one's karma to reborn in a bad place. So that person might be reborn in a very bad place by doing that. And that is a bad ritual. That is not understanding the karma correctly.
Right.
Because I don't want to be killed, and the person who is being killed, like faced to the killing, is not also like to be die.
The sacrificial killing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also to other animals also. People kill other animals also. Yeah. It should motivate us and it should inspire us to the good actions. Whatever the view that we hold should motivate us to the good actions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even let's say that we get this kind of understanding that there is this life and there is next life and there is good things and there are bad things, that these things should be cultivated, these things should be abandoned, that if we get such a kind of a view, that view generate and motivate a very good actions in the future by way of body and speech, doesn't it?
It should.
Because I don't kill because I'm scared to go to a bad world.
Yeah.
I don't speak bad words because I scared to go to a bad world. I don't speak bad words.
Right.
If there is a bad world, we will go to a bad world if we do bad things. But if we do good things, we are definitely go to a good world. No problem, whatever the others say. Somebody might curse us. No, you go to a bad world. No problem, because we ourselves know that we are not having any regret in our life. That is why we came to human life.
The question I had is kind of about pointless talk.
Yes,
And when we go to the retreat, we
Yeah.
take the 5 precepts.
yes.
So one of them is not to lie.
8 precepts.
8, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, the 8, yeah. 5, okay. So the 8. So when we take the 8 precepts, one of them is not to lie. And so is this related to kind of, because humans are social human beings are social beings. So
Yes.
it's like building a fence around the 8 precepts.
Yes,
So you're being extra careful
yes.
by not engaging in pointless talk, because then that could lead, it would affect someone else. It could hurt someone by your speech. So is that kind of the concept, to kind of build around a fence around them so you're extra careful?
Yeah, it can put like that. And it is also making sense, the mindfulness too. But it is still not something like giving a reward or a punishment
Right,
by
yeah.
external force.
Yeah.
It is not go to that direction, but it is to know for ourselves that
Yeah.
this is what should cultivate, this is what should abandon. And as soon as we get the rules, it is kind of, yeah, you're right.
I do believe for a layperson, it
Yeah.
is probably very difficult. Pointless talk. For
Yes.
example, if you go to an assembly of,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, bankers or whatever, there is always small talk.
yeah,
You know, you cannot avoid small talk, which is pointless talk. So when you explained pointless talk, you really in all the speech, you always refer to the speech should be of Dharma. Anything
yes,
anything that is not of Dharma is worthless speech.
Yes. Dhamma is not necessarily Buddhism.
No, no, no.
Yeah, Dhamma is whatever good things.
Good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
when
I
we're
don't say that asking how is the weather is a pointless talk, but starting a discussion about the actors and actresses, singers and singresses, and worlds and countries and wars and battles, lakes, clothes, jewelry, no stop.
so when we're downstairs having lunch at
Yeah.
the monastery,
Yeah.
a lot of us don't know each other.
Yeah.
So you can't start talking Dhamma to someone you don't know. So
Yeah.
there has to be some interaction, some social interaction, because it would
Yeah.
be very
So
difficult.
No, that interaction
no
can
problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Now we are having that discussion.
Yeah.
Do you think that we talked a pointless talk? No.
No, no.
I asked how you're doing and what you're doing, and well, if a actor or celebrity comes to the retreat, you
Yeah.
can talk to that person about his or her preferences.
Yeah.
But for now, I think most important is mindfulness, Alan.
yes.
No, you're right. I fully agree.
Nobody would give that to you until that you start yourself.
Yeah.
Let's say we talk all the way during the day up until the dawn. If that doesn't bring our mindfulness, so why is that discussion?
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of
Well, Alan, you start off by saying, wasn't that a good lecture we had from Monday tonight?
it was amazing.
Yeah, so
Sounds
that's a
nice.
start of an interaction.
It's
Oh, yeah.
simple but very deep.
But you are open to criticize me, no problem. Because that's how we can share the things. Thank you so much for joining,
Thank
friends.
you,
Thank
Bande.
you,
Be
Bante.
well, happy
That's
and
very
Thank
peaceful.
you,
Thank you.
Bhante.
May you be so
Buddhaya.
attained, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bante. No, Buddha.
Welcome.
Namo Buddhaya, Bante.
Now,
We'll see you on Saturday.
see you Saturday.
Yeah.